he said, "Are you always going to make things this difficult?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And I'm talking to him just like this because I'm really calm and normally really laid back.
No, you're talking to him like that because you're a 50-year-old woman who just loves to play games. At 50, you're acting like you're 25 on the dating market. At 50, you're coming to tell TikTok this very irrelevant story. At 50, embarrassing.
The ghetto.
To be on the dating market at 50, dating as if you're 25 is wild to me.
That don't make no sense.
I hope this helps more than it triggered, because at 50, you should be able to identify these things by now, man. But
You gonna learn today.
y'all, if you're rocking with the channel, hit the like button and make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Let's take a listen.
Story time. I've been dying to say that. So this is my first official story time. So I've been following a lot of divorce TikTok and dating over 50 TikTok. And I just want to say it's really nice to know that I am not alone. I was divorced in 2018 after 18 years of marriage, and I am 50 years old. I went to a day party. And by the way, my daughter thought it would be a good idea for me to share some of my escapades, if you can call them that. And you'll see what I mean by the end of the story. So I went to a day party last Monday, which was Labor Day. And towards the end of the evening, this young man and I bumped into each other and started a conversation. So the conversation was great. He was really funny. And he was tall, dark, and handsome, with a beautiful smile. So he was charming the pants off me. And towards the end of the conversation, he said, "You know, I would really like to call you sometime. Can I have your number?"
At 50, she's still prioritizing physical features at 50.
Get some help.
So I gave him my number, but I looked up into his eyes and asked him sincerely, "How old are you?" Which he smiled and answered 36. So he said, "Why? Are you older than me?" And I said, "Yes, I'm 50. And he did not skip a beat. He proceeded to tell me that, and I apologize for my eyes going all over the place, but there are a lot of police officers out here right now, and I'm on my phone while I'm driving. So
why are you on your phone while you're driving? Because this is a story you can do without. This is a story you don't have to tell TikTok. Like, it's not like this is an emergency. Or you can at least wait until you're parked up somewhere. But again, the mindset of these 50-year-olds, this is something a 25-year-old will do. They lack discernment. They lack critical thinking. Like, okay, it's not as important. There are cops around. Let me put my phone down. You know, you would think, and I'm saying 25-year-old, but really you would think it's like a 16-year-old. But I guess.
He proceeded to tell me that he had dated older women before, and he was not afraid. So I gave him my phone number. He texted me that evening just to make sure I got home okay. And then Tuesday and Wednesday we exchanged pleasantries, you know, the usual. How you doing? Hope your day's going well and all that good stuff. And then Wednesday evening he asked me when would be a good time to talk. So I told him that Thursday would be ideal because I had a fairly light work day, and Thursday evening I would be completely free. So Thursday evening he called, and we were on the phone over an hour. The conversation was so good. And just drawing off of the evening that we met, the fact that he had such good communication skills and social skills, I was really, I was a little excited because typically with the younger generation, they really lack social skills. They do, honestly and truly. They don't have good eye contact. They seem to not really be able to hold a conversation, and they just seem awkward. So,
Pot's calling kettle black. Hello, hi. Hi, Potts, you're black.
It was really refreshing to talk to someone with charm and social skills and good communication skills. So as I mentioned, we talked for over an hour, and he asked me what would be a good day over the weekend to have dinner. So I told him Saturday would be the best day for me. He said Saturday was good for him. And that was it. We went from there. So Friday evening, he texted me and said, hey, I just want to check in and make sure we're still good for tomorrow. So I did. Everything was good on my end. And I would just need the name of the spot and what time he wanted to meet. And I told him I was really looking forward to it. And he said he was too. Saturday morning came. I didn't hear from him. And I didn't reach out. I typically don't reach out a lot. And I don't text a lot. I'm more traditional, my dad always told me you don't chase a man. So, Saturday afternoon about 3:30, he texted.
What did your dad tell you about going to day parties and picking up men significantly younger than you? What did your dad told you about being 50 on the dating market, acting as if you're 25?
The ghetto.
Okay.
And said, hey, what time is good for you? And I said to him, well, that depends. If the restaurant takes reservations and what their availability is. His next response was, okay, well, I guess we can just do this another time. Which I replied, K, literally just K too. And the reason for that is I don't have really high expectations when it comes to dating. Because I feel that nowadays men really put little to no effort in. So him seeming like he was a little annoyed and saying, well, we could just try this another time. I really didn't know what to take from it, but I wasn't going to probe deeper.
First of all, yes, I can agree. Men are putting little to no effort into dating, as they should, because a lot of y'all just seem so boring. Based on how she's telling her story, she seems very dry and boring. She said she doesn't reach out, so it seems as though it's safe to assume he's the one that's constantly reaching out. It's safe to assume that once he reaches out, he's having to suck salt out a wooden spoon to get a conversation from her. And let us not forget, she's 14 years older than him. You would think that she would be able to carry on a conversation. But it seems as though she's just boring as hell. So when she was like, when he asked her, what time works for you? Give him a damn time. Why are you talking about it depends on the restaurant's reservation? What the hell does that have to do with anything? If you give him a time and he reached out to the restaurant and they said, they're not available, then give him another time. Like, these women just make life way more difficult than it needs to be. She's turning this around on men not putting effort. But in dealing with somebody like you, who the hell has time to be sucking salt out a wooden spoon just to get a proper conversation from you? And at 50, damn.
So as soon as I said K, he picked up the phone and called me. So I answered, hey. His tone was so nasty. He said, are you always going to make things this difficult? And I said, well, what do you mean? And I'm talking to him just like this because I'm really calm and normally really laid back.
No, you're talking to him like that because you're a 50-year-old woman who just loves to play games. At 50, you're acting like you're 25 on the dating market. At 50, you're coming to tell TikTok this very irrelevant story. At 50. Embarrassing.
The ghetto.
He said, I told you we were going to XYZ restaurant. And I said, no, you never told me what restaurant. He said, I did tell you. And if you wanted to know more, you should have done your research. I said, whoa, you asked me out on a date. Just like that. I didn't raise my voice. I said, so typically when someone asks you want out on a date, they do the research. I said, you asked me. He said, look, I told you it was going to be XYZ restaurant and we were going at 7 o'clock. I said, slow down. Because at this point, he was raising his voice and he was being rather nasty. So I said, whoa. He said, well, let me look this up right now. I said, no. I said, if you take a look back at the text messages, I said, you'll see that you never mentioned what restaurant and you never mentioned what time. I said, you never mentioned those two. And I said, you don't have to worry about me being a problem, because I absolutely won't. I said, you don't have to look anything up. I said, why don't you just forget about it and you just have a nice evening? And I hung up the phone. And then I proceeded to block him. Now, I don't know. Maybe some of you guys will think that that was a little extreme. I don't think it was extreme, because at this point in my life, I just tend not to.
So if you don't think it was extreme, why are you telling a story? If it wasn't that deep, if you're not pressed, why you have to? She's been talking for how long now, guys? She's been talking for 7 minutes and 15 seconds, but she don't think it was extreme. So why are you telling this story?
Ignore early red flags, and at the same time, I'm not going to let any young man that could possibly be my son talk to me any kind of way. For him to raise his voice and say things like, I told you, and you should have done your research, and just the nastiness of the tone. I mean, that was nothing like the young man that I had met. It was nothing like the gentleman that I talked to on the phone. Everything just kind of changed, and, you know, I was just a little confused by it. And maybe he was just having a bad day. But at the same time, if you're trying to get to know somebody, I think you try to present your best self. But I'm really, really grateful he presented his authentic self, because it saved me a lot of time, because I'm just, like I mentioned, I'm just not in the place to ignore early red flags. I'm not. So, you know, that was just one of my dating or almost dating experiences. And, you know, I chuckled about it with my daughter, because she knows, you know, my expectations are low. And, you know, I figured out dinner, and then I baked some brownies and had ice cream later. So,
I wonder who taught her daughter how to date, because if her daughter is dating how she's dating, her daughter will end up 50, single, going to day parties, picking up men, and then coming to tell your TikTok.
my evening was good. I was comfortable in my house. My belly was full, and I was still at peace. So, let me know what you think. Was I wrong? To tell you the truth, I really don't care. But if you would have handled the situation differently, I would love to hear that. Maybe I can apply that in maybe one of my next situations. Hopefully it will be nothing like that. So, that's it. Thanks for listening.
Honestly, not to take any accountability away from the guy, because I don't know why he was pursuing her in the first place. But for her to be, it's, as I said earlier, it was clear as day that she's very boring. Just based on how she was telling this story, she seems very, very boring. And she seems as though when she said her dad said to never chase a man, sis, you're 50. You need to chase. Okay. Need to chase. Like, you know, do that little fast walk. It's not a jog, but it's not a walk, you know? Because you 50 on the dating market and you're obviously depressed. Dating as if you're 25, and it blows my mind how unaware they are. Like, they lack self-awareness. They don't realize, like, wait, at 50 I have to move differently than I would at 25. You are older. Y'all, let's take a look at her TikTok. She is just a typical woman that is thirsty for attention, that is posting, hoping that look at me, that somebody would give her a little bit of attention, and it's really sad.
Just wanted to get on and get your thoughts on something. So this afternoon, Layla and I went to Today's Pizza, and
like, get your thoughts on what? Why are you getting our thoughts? Why are you getting our thoughts on things? Like, come on, does this look like a 50-year-old woman? I would be damned if my mom would be. Look at this. If my mom ever posts something like this, seriously, at 50, you posting these things? At 50, you have your shorts up in your butt crack? Like, when I was growing up, a 50-year-old would carry themselves like a 50-year-old. I'm not saying carry yourself like a grandma, but don't dress like a 25-year-old. Look at this. Dressing like a 25-year-old. I'm here sitting at 34, and I already know, okay, there are certain things I'm not going to wear. Even if I'm going to wear this blue top, where is it? Even if I'm going to wear a blue top like this, I'm going to throw a cardigan over it. If it's too hot for a cardigan, I take my arms out and let the sleeve hang. But you dress your age. Like, come on now. She trying to hold on to her youth. That's why she was so proud that this 36-year-old guy gave her the time of day, and she had to run to her TikTok to tell it. I wonder if this is her daughter. It doesn't say if it was her daughter. But I mean, come on, at this point it's embarrassing. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I hope they don't take offense to it. I hope they see this as an opportunity to learn. I hope they see this as an opportunity to self-reflect. Because come on now.
I'm gonna try to get all of this in so you can hear my review of Mr. Braxton's in DC. So
I would love to see what her ex-husband is like. I would love to hear her ex-husband's side of the story. Look at this. If my mom ever stepped out of the house at 50 wearing shorts like this, embarrassing. First of all, my mom would never. Yeah, too classy to be wearing things like this. Way too classy and stush to be wearing things like this. But y'all, as I said, we do not debate, we do not argue, we point and laugh, because kill them dead, men are the problem. She will go on and continue to tell this story and paint herself as a victim and him as a villain as well. And you see that thing that she was doing when she was like, oh, I was talking just like this, I was talking so soft, I was talking just like, that's a manipulative tactic. That's how narcissists gaslight, because they're like, why are you getting upset? Why are you getting upset? I was talking just so soft. Just walk away. And this is why I'm curious why this 36-year-old man is peeping her. He probably just wanted to feel what it feel like to pump and dump a granny.
Oh my God!
Maybe. But y'all, leave your thoughts in the comment section, because it's the absolute ghetto. It's the absolute ghetto to see this 50-year-old woman dating as if they're 25. You are older, ma'am. You are older. Date as if you are older. Date in your age range. But this is somebody who's still wearing her shorts in her butt crack. So what can we... The next video that pop up on the screen is another opportunity for us to point, laugh, and save yourselves, black men, because it's an absolute ghetto out here. Absolute ghetto. I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.